Hey there, Max Forti back with another video. This time around, it's going to be a Q&A video. Thank you so much. First and foremost, thank you TASS from FERISA NATASSA. I'm going to leave her link down in the description box for tagging me. And secondly, I would like to apologize for taking so long. It's been so busy lately, so hectic. A lot of things going on, just forgot about the video, and I wanted to make sure I apologize for taking so long. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. There's a few questions to get to it, so we might as well jump right on it. Let's go. Okay, so the first question is, how many fragrances do you own? So right now, I'm right around the 900 mark, closing into the 1,000 mark, which I never thought possible. You know, before I started this journey about, 15 years ago, I always had a lot of fragrances, 30 to 40 fragrances, but I never thought that I was going to be an avid collector and jump into vintage collecting. Right now I'm shy of 1,000. I think I have 960 something fragrances, about 40 to 50 shy of 1,000. So I never thought possible. It is nuts. So the second question is, how do you organize and store away, or how do you organize your fragrance collection? So I have a few curio cabinet units that I keep most of my collection, and I have two cooler temperature controlled cooler units that I keep my most prized possession, the most expensive one and hard to get fragrances, the most expensive vintage ones, or the really high-end niche fragrances are kept in those temperature control environment coolers. However, the curio cabinets and all my cabinets that are in an office that I have is actually kept in a very well maintained, controlled environment. I actually keep it closed. It's free from light, from sunlight. It's actually dark in there, so I don't do much. I don't do any filming in there, for that matter. So it's actually really well controlled and really dark. So this is how I pretty much store away my fragrances. And I have some fragrances that I actually put away if they're like duplicates. If I had doubles of something, I actually keep them inside of cabinets, like dark, cabinets, inside within that curio cabinet. So that's how I store them. So the third question is, what is my first ever fragrance? This is a funny story. I was in 5th grade, elementary school, and my dad had actually bought a gift set, a Sauerporn gift set, and he gave me one of those mini, I think they're like 0.05 fluid ounces. And I took that to school, and I actually remember, just pouring that thing on me. I just went through the whole bottle, went to class, and I was stinking up the class. It was so strong. As you guys know, the original Sauerporn was a very strong, green, pungent fougere. The whole class smelled like it, and the teacher actually had to remove me from class. He told me to go outside for a little while, and I was outside for like, a couple hours. I was almost sent home that day. But then I went back in class and resumed the day. But that's my first, fragrance that I actually own, and it's a funny experience. But if it has to be a first fragrance that I actually purchased myself, then it would be Calvin by Calvin Klein, which I believe was released in 1981, but I didn't purchase that until mid-90s when I was in high school. So Calvin by Calvin Klein was the actual first purchase that I made. Fourth question is, what is my newest fragrance or newest fragrance acquisition? My latest fragrance purchase right now, question number 4, believe it or not, it's Parfums de Marly Layton. I had tried that fragrance in a store in New York City, but actually didn't buy it. Just kept putting it off, and finally I got the fragrance. Very happy with it, and I got another fragrance for women, so stay tuned. I'm going to be doing a double feature review with that very soon. So Layton, great fragrance, is my latest purchase. The fifth question here is, what is my most expensive fragrance? So I would have to look into my niche fragrances, stuff like, Xerjoff, SJ, Homme, or Richwood. Perhaps are the most expensive ones I can think of right now, or even some of the vintage ones like Pateau pour Homme, by Jean Pateau, the actual vintage bottle. I have one of those that I found last year, and I was very happy to purchase that, which was a pretty hefty purchase. So I think those are kind of like the most expensive ones I own. Believe it or not, I don't have any of the really expensive Rouge of Doves. Not that I don't want to, I just haven't pulled the trigger in any one of those really, really expensive ones, except for Enigma, which is the only one that is the most expensive one that I have from Rouge of Dove. All right, so the sixth question here is, what is my most dramatic fragrance purchased experience? Thank God I don't have any nightmarish kind of experiences, but I have one. I remember one time I was looking for this designer fragrance. It was Dior Homme Intense. I wanted to get the latest release, when it first came out. And I remember calling the store and I asked, "Do you guys have Dior Homme Intense?" The lady said, "Yes, we do." I said, "Are we sure? It's brand new." Yeah, we do. I got into the store and they had Dior Homme, but they didn't have Dior Homme Intense. So I was really disappointed. I'm sure at some point or another, all of us had that terrible assay experience, which is a shame, but it does happen. So this is one of the experiences that I've had with an assay that was really upsetting to me, because I had to drive a good half an hour to the store, and they didn't have the fragrance that I was madly wanting to try. So anyway, so that was probably the worst buying experience that I've had, the most dramatic, if you will. It's not that dramatic anyway. All right, so the seventh question here, my current favorite fragrance store. There are two great fragrance stores, actually three fragrance stores that I really enjoy. The first one I'd have to say is Berghoff and Goodman in New York City, just because they have a tremendous amount of variety of niche fragrances and designers, but you can find pretty much anything and everything in that store. And twice that I've been to that store, actually, once I ran into Roja Dove, and another time I ran into Thierry Wasser from Guerlain. So it is a very cool store. And the second store that I really enjoy is Oswald's, which is also in New York City, which is a really, really cool niche experience and tremendously helpful people. Josie is great, so it's one store that I really enjoy. And thirdly is a store in Brooklyn called Twisted Lily. Tremendous customer service, great Indian and niche fragrances. If you haven't, if you come to New York City, it's a must for you to check that store out. So those are my three favorite ones. If I can't really just pick one. Current favorite fragrance, that changes every so often. I'd say like every week or 2 weeks, but right now I'm really digging into the vintage fragrances, oak moss, base fragrances, vetiver. So right now I'm really enjoying, I have a video on that. Really enjoying Eau Sauvage Extreme from 1984. I have the big bottle, the vintage bottle, I believe from the early 90s. Great fragrance, real oak mossy, very green, very pungent, very fougere, just an amazing fragrance. And you take that Eau Sauvage, again I have a video on it if you want to check it out, which is very citrus aromatic, and you add that fougere component into that. That's what you get with Eau Sauvage Extreme. An amazing fragrance. That's my current favorite right now. I've been wearing the hell out of it. All right, number 9 here, the least favorite fragrance. There's only one fragrance that comes to mind. I love fragrance. I think it's just a great art. A lot of fragrance might not be very wearable, but you love it for the artistic, component that goes into it. But one fragrance in particular, I just can't stand. I could never wear it. It's just, you couldn't pay me to wear that fragrance, and that's from the house. I'm going to make sure I don't butcher the name here. Okay, it's from the house of Etat Libre d'Orange, and the fragrance is Sécrétions Magnifiques, which is basically, blood, sweat, semen, just a very metallic, very weird, like milky kind of, it smells like secretions. It's just very hard to bear that fragrance. I could never wear that fragrance. So that's one fragrance that I could say it's my least favorite of all time. Number 10 here, my next fragrance purchase. I always have a list, an ongoing list, and a spreadsheet from fragrance houses that I'd like to try, from fragrances that I do not own yet. But two fragrance houses that I'm really diving into right now that I'm really appreciative of, both of them. One is Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I don't have much from that house. I only have, I think, 3 or 4 bottles. So I'm really getting into Maison Francis Kurkdjian, which is an amazing niche house. And the other house I'm really diving into right now is Bois 1920 from Italy. From, I think, the perfumer is Enzo Gilardi. It's an amazing house. I love what they do. And you're sure to find something you like from that house. So both houses actually are phenomenal niche houses. So Maison Francis Kurkdjian and Bois 1920 are two fragrance houses that I'm currently looking to make purchases from. So the 11th and last question, what is my dream fragrance? So there is a fragrance, if you go on YouTube and you actually search for this fragrance, you're gonna get a couple really cool videos. And my dream fragrance is Shiseido's Nombre Noir. Very hard to find fragrance. There's a crazy story that goes behind this fragrance. I believe the guy who actually created the fragrance committed suicide. It's a really weird story behind this fragrance, but it's a really cool bottle. It's said to be an amazing fragrance. It has ylang ylang. It has some really crazy notes in it, but it's said to be this just amazing smelling fragrance. Again, extremely hard to find. Shiseido's Number Noir, again, the picture will be next to me, is definitely my dream fragrance. I'd love to at least smell the fragrance. I never tried it. I'd love to own a bottle, but if I could even just smell it and try it, I would be ecstatic. So that's my dream fragrance for sure. So this is it for me. Those were the questions, and I gave you my answers. I hope you liked. So this is the time of the video when I'm supposed to tag somebody, but you know what? If you're a fragrance reviewer here on YouTube, consider yourself tagged. You know, I'm not gonna tag anybody in particular. Again, I'm really late for the party, so if you haven't yet made a tag on this video, if you haven't been tagged, you are it. You're tagged. So, you know, please indulge us with your answers and continue to tag, please. So that's all I have for you today. Please like, share, and subscribe for a lot more great content. If you haven't yet, hit the notification bell for a lot more content, which is quite often in this channel. And you know what to do, guys. Keep on spraying and stay fragrant. I'll see you next time. Ciao.